2 weeks ago, the federal Labor MP Sam Dastyari opened a Pandora's box, releasing a flurry of questions about the influx of Chinese wealth into Australia, the alleged currying of political favour and the way donations to politicians work. Senator Dastyari had to resign after it was revealed that he'd asked a business with links to the Chinese government to pay a travel bill for him. That hasn't been the end of the matter, though, as questions are asked about whether the whole donation system needs more scrutiny and possible reform. Dylan Welch has been taking a look, including in New South Wales, where a little-known Labor politician has played a central role in the flow of Chinese money into Australian politics.
New South Wales Labor politician Ernest Wong is singing for his supper. It's February 2011. An embattled New South Wales Premier Christina Keneally is at the beginning of an ill-fated election campaign.
Such a strong turnout of candidates, ministers and MPs here tonight to be here and to support Ernest in his campaign.
The night's also about introducing some of Sydney's most influential Chinese-Australian business people to the stars of the Labor Party. And it's all organised by this man.
I'm pretty sure that the Premier and all the candidates and ministers will go over to your table to say hello to you.
Ernest Wong was running at the unwinnable number 8 spot on Labor's upper house ticket in 2011. But his prodigious ability as a fundraiser and a networker meant he was valuable to the ALP.
Anyone who is actually active in the Chinese community in Australia knows who Ernest is.
Seated at the night's VIP table is New South Wales ALP boss Sam Dastyari. Next to him is Zhu Minshen, who runs the private college Top Education Institute. Zhu was to drag Dastyari into a world of trouble.
What I did was within the rules, but it was wrong.
Dastyari was forced to resign from Labor's front bench this month after Zhu's company paid for a $1,670 travel debt. The scandal threw a light on the relationships between politicians and wealthy Chinese Australian business people facilitated by Wong.
Some people may not necessarily like him, but they will respect him because he is in an important position. He's a politician. He does have links to Chinese businesses. He does know a lot of people, and he has access to a lot of the Labor politicians.
Erin Chu runs the Asian Australian Alliance. She attends the same events as Ernest Wong and knows him well.
Ernest obviously originally came from Hong Kong, but he has adapted pretty well to Australian way of life.
Wong first came to the ALP's attention as a local councillor in Sydney's Burwood. There, he was introduced to the ultimate New South Wales power broker, disgraced Labor upper house member Eddie Obeid. It was at Burwood Council that Wong's talents were noticed by Sam Dastyari. He made him the New South Wales ALP's Community Relations Director.
I thank the House for this welcome.
And in 2013, gave Ernest Wong the job he'd always wanted.
I particularly thank Senator Sam Dastyari, former General Secretary of New South Wales Labor, for his support and mentoring.
Dastyari parachuted Wong into the upper house seat vacated by Eric Roosendahl, who left Parliament hounded by corruption allegations.
I'm not going to make any comment till after the ICAC is completely concluded.
Roosendahl moved straight into a high-paying role at the Yoo-Hoo Group, the company owned and run by one of Ernest Wong's friends and an important ALP donor, Wang Jiangmo, seen here sitting next to Sam Dastyari at Wong's maiden speech.
Mr. Wong, hey, I'm Dylan Welch from the ABC. How are you?
Last year, 7:30 revealed the increasing political influence of Wang Jiangmo, a little-known property developer who moved to Australia 5 years ago. He's donated millions to both parties.
If you want to rank him number 1, probably you can.
One of the first politicians Wang met in Australia was Ernest Wong. In an interview with 7:30 last year, Wong described his friend.
He is actually one of the top 100 philanthropists in China, as a matter of fact. Yeah, and then he I shouldn't say that. He thinks himself a scholar, which I think he is, because he's very knowledgeable.
Huang's relationship to the ALP through Wong has been a valuable one.
The demonstration, Mr. Wong, of how highly you're respected, how much all of us respect you and the work you do.
In 2014, Huang picked up a $4,000 legal bill for Sam Dastyari. But unlike Ernest Wong, Huang's political support extends beyond party lines. Since the Liberals came to power in 2013, Huang has overwhelmingly donated to them.
I think the political arms race has been going on not just in New South Wales but around the country. A whole range of additional costs in campaigning has meant there's been a reach out to get more and more funds, and of course that's meant more and more fundraising, and that's put more and more risk around the issue of fundraising and the integrity of it.
Huang developed a close relationship with Australia's then Trade Minister Andrew Robb, twice paying for him to be his guest at the Melbourne Cup.
Mr. Huang Chan-ran to present a trophy to the winning owners to celebrate.
When Andrew Robb retired, his press secretary, Cameron Hill, became Huang's spokesman.
They've been key figures within the Chinese community in Sydney that have facilitated these connections between the political parties and the Chinese community. And they themselves, including Ernest Wong, who is currently a member of the Upper House, have been instrumental in building these links.
One of the key vehicles for Wong's ALP fundraising is the Chinese Friends of Labour group. It's been around for decades, but since Wong took over, it's become a particularly good money spinner.
If you are someone who donates a lot of money, you'll definitely get the central table where the leader of the opposition or the Prime Minister will sit.
Cash for access?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Both Ernest Wong and Sam Dastyari declined interviews with 7:30. Wong also failed to reply to questions. Since the Dastyari affair, there have been calls to reform donation laws. John Della Bosca is now making the same call, saying such reforms are long overdue.
I think the recent events on a number of issues highlight the need for a drastic reform of political donations law. It's something we've been incremental about for a generation, and we've ended up with one big mess.
Propriety has largely been reduced to legality, where large amounts of corporate money are being received, sometimes shrouded in secrecy, often without proper controls for conflicts of interest, at all times giving rise to risks of corruption and undue influence.
Dylan Welch with that report.